Now I gotta ride or die.
Welcome back to the channel. Today we are in hot hatch perfection. We are in a 205 GTI. Now I wanted to take this car out and review it, and unfortunately it started raining, of course. England and weather and trying to work stuff out. Anyway, we're still going to go and enjoy this thing down some back roads, but I would like to say a massive thank you to Jason at JW Auto Shine. He is the reason I'm in this car today. This is a car that was purchased in 1995 by his mother-in-law, and they've had it in the family since. So something that's sentimental and very, very exciting for me to drive today. Although we've driven a 205 on the channel before, it wasn't a GTI like this one. So this is an unrestored, unmolested, beautiful piece of hot hatch history. If you like this style of video, please give it a like, subscribe to the channel if you haven't. But onwards to the B roads. Litre 205 GTI wearing some fantastic DDL number plates. If you guys don't know, DL is Isle of Wight registered. This car was actually bought in 1995 for £1,750. So unfortunately we don't buy 205s at that price anymore, which is a huge shame. I would absolutely love to get myself into one of these for that sort of price. I think we all would. But what's it like to drive straight away? First things first, the actual throw of the gearbox is so long, but that's such a French thing, isn't it? That's such a French thing. Once it's in gear, it slots in really nicely, but the motion in the ocean around the gearbox is just comical, but so French. My 106 GTI is sort of like that as well. Once it's in the gear and thrown in, it is perfection. Before it though, it's a little bit like this, stirring a pot. But that's what the classic hot hatch experience is like. These 205s, you know, even the hot ones, you go from, you know, new cars into this and you feel those different parts. That is just part of the experience for me. I love the idea that we're changing down a gear is like that into the gear. I sort of love cars like that. Oh, there it is. I love cars like this for that feel of old school more than anything. The steering is another old school feel where it's not assisted by power, so no power steering in this. But again, I can feel the bumps, the grooves, the position of that front wheel in the road, and it just gives the best driving experience. It really does. It's such a, it just doesn't take anything away from the driving experience of you driving down the road. You got to work a little bit harder, don't get me wrong, but that is what cars like this are all about. The plus point from the other side of you driving this, you know, as it is, no power steering means it's a better drive from the steering wheel. And the gearbox, mate, I'll tell you, the gearbox is hilarious, but it's so part of it. That throw, coupled with the fact that the clutch is not low, but it is like the fact you work with the clutch to throw it in the gear and throw it around. And, you know, when you do go around a corner and this thing tracks round, there's no weight. It's so light, and you can feel that through, again, the non-power assisted steering. It feels just, oh, it just feels so right, this little car. And what you don't get from new cars especially is this sensation of just an organic feeling car. And even in the wet, it's just so light on its toes, You can rev it right round to, you know, six and a bit thousand RPM, which is just biblical little car this. And you can see why they're going up in price. I really wanted to sort of assess the pricing of these, because I've seen them increase very, very quickly at the moment, up to where, you know, you have to be really into these cars to warrant spending the money on them. They're not, you know, £1,750 anymore like this one was in 1995. That's one of those things. If you were a younger person and you owned one of these back in, say, you know, the 90s, the 2000s, it will take you back to that point, and that's what the general consensus of all these hot hatches are doing at the moment. So I would say, again, like I have in many videos like this, in 2021, this is the time to buy one of these. Don't sleep on an old cool car that you may have had in your youth, because they are going out of control. The last time I saw a 1.9 up for sale was around £8,000 to £10,000. Again, you can go out there and buy a cheaper one from Steve round the corner. You know, you could get a deal on one, but they're going to be rusty. They're going to be, you know, not as genuine. They might be restored in some way. This one I'm driving today is completely unrestored, and it now lives its life in a garage and then is used to its full potential when it wants to be used, not as a daily driver. This was a daily driver for the owner for 9 years, and then it wasn't necessarily parked up, but it was more considered a car that she could then use when she fancied, rather than being the main car that you would go and drive. And I love it for that. I love the fact that this is sort of sat in a garage waiting to be used when it wants to be. Oh, slip from the front wheels in the wet. It's so sprightly, because there's no turbo, there's no lag. No lag means it's naturally aspirated, and sometimes that means it's not as fun or as fast, but nah, this is just bags of fun down the British B roads. It really is. Yeah, lads, I just tell you, like, this feels like my 106, except a little bit more agricultural in a weird way. You have to sort of work for the power, but I've got to admit the throttle response is incredibly good, like incredibly good. You have to put a little bit of pressure on that throttle pedal. Second gear, it will really take you down the road fast. It feels a lot faster than I was expecting as well. That's another thing, because it's light, because you can hear what's going on. You know, it's French build quality, and you know, it's not the thickest thing, let's say. There isn't loads of sound deadening and all this sort of business that you get in a newer car. This is just, yeah, it's B-roading at its finest. Hot hatches at its finest. Cars like this, again, I'm gonna say, if you've got the money to buy one, if you've had one, you know the feeling, go and buy one now. Go and buy one. Go and make the purchase now. Go and find a good one, or restore one. Go and find one that needs bits on it, because in a minute these cars are going to be worth so much money, you're going to be pricing yourself out of ever owning one. The time to buy is now, ladies and gentlemen. 100%. Anyway, guys, lovely little trip out in this 205. I cannot thank the owner and Jason enough for letting me take this treasured 205 GTI out for just a jolly down a B road. That's all I wanted to do in this video. I just want to go and experience this car, and it's really taken me back to old school feeling, you know, like I get in my RS Turbo, and you know, it's the same sort of era of car, and it takes you back to simpler times. This is what these cars are all about, and if you've ever experienced it, good on you. If you never have, if you ever get the chance, you need to. Nothing comes close to a cheeky old hot hatch. That's the way I see things. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. If you did like this style of video, let me know in the comments below. Give this video a like if you haven't, and I'll see you all on the next one.